When family ties turn toxic, a journey through love, grief, and boundaries. Family is supposed to be your anchor. The people who hold you steady when life's storms rage. They're the ones you turn to in your darkest moments. The ones who celebrate your triumphs and wipe your tears. But what happens when those closest to you become the source of your pain? When love twists into obligation, when loyalty becomes a chain, when family demands you sacrifice your sanity for their convenience. In the stories that follow, I weave together 5 raw, heart-wrenching tales of people caught in the crossfire of family conflicts. Each one a window into the messy human struggle of balancing love with self-preservation. These aren't just stories. They're a call to question the unspoken rules of family, to challenge the idea that blood always comes first. Through vivid storytelling, I'll pull you into their world, stir your emotions, and maybe even make you rethink what you'd do in their shoes. Brace yourself. This is family at its most real, its most broken, and its most redemptive. The grieving aunt pushed beyond her limits. Imagine you're 30, living in a cozy home with your husband and a menagerie of pets. Your heart full but aching because you and your husband can't have children. Instead, you pour your love into your brother's 2 little girls, a bubbly young child and a curious toddler. As a freelance web developer, you work from home. Your schedule flexible enough to let you babysit these girls for free day after day. For 4 long years, you cook their favorite macaroni and cheese, mop up their spills, and sing them to sleep. When your brother and sister-in-law fall short on rent or school fees, you dip into your savings to help. No questions asked. It's exhausting, but it's love, pure, selfless, the kind that fills the hole in your heart. Then tragedy strikes. Your closest friend, the one who knew your secrets and shared your laughter, dies suddenly. Grief crashes over you like a tidal wave, leaving you gasping, unable to focus on work, or even get out of bed some days. You tell your brother you need 2 weeks, 2 precious weeks, to rest, to mourn, to piece your shattered soul back together. You beg for space, your voice trembling with the weight of your loss. But does he listen? No. He shows up at your door, the girls trailing behind him, their backpacks slung over their tiny shoulders. He brushes off your pain with a casual, "Taking care of them will help you feel better." You're stunned, your eyes still red from crying, but he doesn't see or doesn't care. When you push back saying you can't handle it, he and his wife turn on you like wolves. They demand you pay for their childcare costs if you won't watch the girls, accusing you of being selfish, as if your grief is a minor inconvenience. Selfish. After 4 years of giving everything, your time, your money, your heart? The betrayal cuts deeper than any knife. This story breaks your heart because it's about grief, raw, suffocating, all-consuming, and the sting of family turning against you when you're at your weakest. You can feel the aunt's exhaustion, not just from chasing toddlers, but from carrying the unbearable weight of being taken for granted. Her brother's callousness, his wife's accusations, they're daggers in her already wounded soul. You want to scream for her to stand up, to demand the respect she's earned. But here's the question that stops you cold. What if she just walked away? What if she looked her brother in the eye and said, "I'm done, figure it out"? We're taught that family comes first, that love means sacrifice, but what if family is the one breaking you? Should she keep pouring herself out until there's nothing left, just because they're blood? This challenges everything we're told about family duty, daring you to ask, when is enough enough? Her brother's manipulation is a calculated guilt trip, preying on her love for those girls to keep her in line. But she could turn the tables with a single unshakable boundary. "I've given enough. I need this time and I won't pay for your childcare." It's not just about saying no. It's about reclaiming her worth. Her husband sees the truth. Paying them is cruel, a slap in the face after all she's done. She needs to hold her ground, maybe even step back from babysitting for good. By saying no, she's not just protecting her mental health, she's teaching her family to value her. And that's a lesson they'll never forget. The pregnant wife and the husband's silent resentment. Now picture yourself 8.5 months pregnant, your body heavy and aching from a high-risk pregnancy that's kept you on bed rest for weeks. Your insurance is a cruel joke, forcing you to take unpaid leave, and your husband's working 14-hour shifts to keep the bills paid. He's barely home, and when he is, he's too exhausted to talk, let alone hold you through your fears. You lean on your mom, a retired ER nurse who's become your lifeline. She drives you to doctor's appointments, helps you bathe, and sits with you through every anxious moment, her calm voice steadying your racing heart. The hospital has strict rules. Only one person can be in the delivery room when you give birth. You choose your mom, the one who's been there, who knows your strength and your terror. You break the news to your husband, expecting him to understand. Instead, his face twists with hurt. He accuses you of denying him a once-in-a-lifetime experience and choosing your mom over him. His words sting, but it's his silence that wounds deeper. He sulks, sleeping on the couch, barely speaking, leaving you to cry yourself to sleep in an empty bed. You're heartbroken, but you stand firm. This is about your comfort in one of the scariest moments of your life. Still, his coldness feels like abandonment, a crack in the foundation of your marriage. This story hits you like a punch to the chest, because it's about a woman at her most vulnerable, facing the raw intensity of childbirth with a husband who's turning her choice into a war. You can feel her fear, her loneliness, the weight of his resentment crushing her already fragile heart. Giving birth is intimate, painful, terrifying. She just wants someone by her side who feels like safety. His sulking is a betrayal, and you want to shake him, beg him to see her pain. But here's the bold idea that'll make you rethink everything. Maybe he shouldn't be in the delivery room. If he can't put her comfort above his ego, is he truly ready to hold her hand through this? We romanticize the father's presence at birth, painting it as a sacred moment. But what if that's not always what the mother needs? This turns the perfect family narrative on its head, asking, why do we assume a father's feelings outweigh a mother's safety? His sulking is a quiet kind of emotional blackmail, punishing her for a choice he can't accept. She could bridge the gap with empathy. I know you're hurt, and I wish you could be there, but I need mom's experience to feel safe. This acknowledges his pain while holding her ground. She's not wrong to choose her mom. Childbirth is her battle, and she gets to pick her ally. But she could soften the blow by including him in other ways, sharing ultrasound videos, recording the baby's heartbeat, or planning a special moment after the birth. Counseling could help them heal this rift before it grows. But for now, her choice is about survival, not rejection. He needs to see that, or the crack in their marriage might become a chasm. The wedding singer who broke her sister's heart. You're 29 and your sister, beaming with bridal joy, asks you to sing at her wedding. You're not a professional, but your voice is a gift, and you agree on one condition. She pays you up front, even for family, because you don't perform for free in front of strangers. She nods, promising to pay, and you spend weeks practicing her chosen song, imagining the magic of her first dance. The wedding day arrives, the ceremony a blur of love and laughter. At the reception, the moment approaches. Your sister and her new husband are about to take the floor. She finds you, her eyes sparkling, and asks if you're ready. You pause, then say, you need to pay me first. Her smile falters, shock and hurt flashing across her face. She begs to pay after, but you stand firm. No payment, no song. She stumbles away, whispering to her husband, who shoots you a glance before disappearing. Minutes later, she returns, pressing cash into your hand with trembling fingers. You thank her, step up to the microphone and sing, your voice soaring over the dance floor. But as you watch your sister sway with her husband, you see it. Her eyes are dim, her smile forced. Later, her husband pulls you aside, his voice low. You didn't have to do that, he says. We would have paid after. You broke her heart on her wedding day. Your parents pile on, calling you cruel for upsetting her on the most important day of her life. You leave the reception, the weight of their words sinking in. Did you go too far? This story stings because weddings are sacred, a moment when love should shine brightest. Your sister's sadness during her first dance is a knife to the heart. You can see her forcing a smile, her joy tainted by your demand. Your insistence feels cold, almost cruel, clashing with the warmth of a family celebration. You're torn between understanding your need for fairness and cringing at the timing of your stand. But here's the twist that'll make you think twice. What if you were right to demand payment? Family often expects free labor, whether it's singing, babysitting, or fixing a car, because it's family. Why should you perform for free when a stranger would be paid? This challenges the unspoken rule that family obligations trump personal boundaries, sparking a question. Is it selfish to value your worth, even at a wedding? Your demand triggered a wave of hurt, catching your sister off guard in a moment of vulnerability. A gentler approach could have saved the day. A quiet reminder the day before. Hey, just confirming you'll have the payment ready before I sing. That simple step could have kept the love intact. You're not wrong to want payment, but the timing was a misstep. An apology for the moment, not the principle, could mend the rift. Explain you didn't mean to hurt her, but stand by your right to be valued. Love doesn't mean working for free, even for family. The vacation home standoff. You're 29, married, with 3 energetic boys. And you've inherited a vacation home by a shimmering lake, a haven of canoes, fishing, and crackling fire pits. You plan a week-long escape with your husband and kids, a chance to unplug and breathe. You invite friends whose kids play well with yours, but they can't come. Then your sister-in-law, Jen, calls your husband with a request. Can she and her tween daughter, Emma, join you? Your heart sinks. You can't stand Emma. Jen insists Emma has autism, despite doctors diagnosing ADHD, and uses it to excuse her daughter's behavior, rude outbursts, bullying, even telling you to stop talking mid-sentence. Emma's a storm cloud and Jen's her enabler, brushing off every incident with, she can't help it. Just last week, Emma was pulled from school for bullying another kid, and Jen spun it as a mental health break. Now she wants to bring this chaos to your sanctuary. You tell your husband no, absolutely not. This vacation is for your family's peace, not a therapy session for his niece. He pushes, suggesting the fresh air might help Emma, but you hold firm. I'm not ruining our trip to test that theory. He backs down, but Jen's furious, accusing you of being harsh, claiming Emma needs this break. Her anger burns, but you refuse to budge. This story grabs you because we've all had that one relative who steals the joy from a room. The thought of a peaceful vacation turning into a battleground with a disrespectful kid is maddening. You feel the wife's protectiveness over her boys, her desperate need for a moment of calm. Jen's entitlement is a spark to your anger. She's demanding access to your haven, as if her daughter's needs trump your family's. But here's the provocative angle. Maybe Jen's the real bully, using Emma's behavior to guilt others into bending to her will. We often excuse bad parenting under the guise of special needs. But what if that's just a shield for avoiding responsibility? This challenges the taboo of criticizing parents of difficult kids, asking, when does empathy become enabling? Jen's rage is a pressure tactic, hoping shame will crack your resolve. You could soften the blow with a deflection. I'm sorry Emma's struggling, but this trip isn't the answer. Let's find another way to help. It's kind but firm. You're not wrong, your vacation, your rules. Your husband needs to stop tossing you under the bus and handle his sister himself. Jen can find another way to help Emma. And you should savor your lake days guilt-free. The stars above your fire pit, a reminder that peace is worth protecting. The hypocritical stepmom's double standard. You're in a second marriage, a decade strong, each of you with a daughter from a previous relationship. Yours is 19, hers is 26. You agreed early on. Neither of you would parent the other's child. Last year, your daughter, a college freshman, hit a rough patch. Her roommate turned toxic, making her feel unwelcome in her own home. She needed to move out and asked for help. You live closer, so you asked your wife if your daughter could stay with you for a month while you found her a new place. Your wife's response was ice cold. No, she's running from being an adult. You're coddling her. Her words stung, painting your daughter as weak, and the rejection strained your marriage, a wound that still aches. Now your wife's 26-year-old daughter, a stay-at-home mom, faces her own crisis. Her husband cheated, shattering her world. Your wife declares she's moving in with you, indefinitely, and expects you to support her fully. You put your foot down. 2 weeks max. Your wife explodes, accusing you of playing favorites, claiming it's our house, so it's not your call. You fire back. It's our house, so it's not just your call either. You refused my daughter a month, but yours gets forever. She calls you cruel, storms to your bedroom, and locks herself inside, refusing to eat or speak. The silence is deafening and you wonder, is she right? This story burns because it's about fairness, or the lack of it. The husband's frustration is a living thing, pulsing with the pain of seeing his daughter dismissed while his wife's is cradled. The wife's hypocrisy is a slap in the face, her double standard a betrayal of their partnership. You're cheering for him to hold his ground, to demand the equality he deserves. But here's the radical idea that'll shake you. Maybe step-parents shouldn't be expected to treat stepkids like their own. We're sold the dream of a blended family. But what if that's a fantasy when loyalties clash? This questions the pressure to prioritize harmony over your own child, asking, why should he sacrifice his daughter for his wife's? Her accusations are a deflection, projecting her bias onto him. He could counter with clarity. I'm not against helping your daughter. I just want the same fairness you gave mine. A time limit. It's a call for justice, not division. He's right to demand equality. They need a clear rule. Adult kids get limited equal help. Counseling could untangle her favoritism, but he should stand firm. No indefinite stays for anyone. Fairness isn't negotiable, not in a marriage worth keeping. A final reflection on family's cost. These stories aren't just about conflict. They're about the price we pay for loving imperfect, complicated people. The aunt sacrifices her grief for her brother's convenience, only to be branded selfish. The pregnant wife chooses comfort over her husband's ego, facing his silent wrath. The wedding singer demands fairness, but wounds her sister's heart. The vacation wife guards her peace, earning her sister-in-law's fury. The husband fights for his daughter, exposing his wife's double standard. Each one grapples with a truth we all face. Family can lift you up or tear you apart, often in the same breath. The lesson isn't about cutting ties or burning bridges. It's about boundaries, fierce, unapologetic boundaries that say, I love you, but I love myself too. These stories shatter the myth that family deserves your everything, no matter the cost. Sometimes saying no is the most loving act of all, for yourself and for them. So, the next time your family pushes you to the edge, pause and ask, am I giving out of love, or am I enabling their chaos? The answer might just set you free.